Have you ever felt like your past was holding you back until one discovery gave you the power to rewrite your future? This is my story. My name is Olivia, and at 34 years old, I discovered that my father had left behind more than just memories. He left a hidden treasure that would change everything I thought I knew about him and about myself. I grew up in a small town where life was simple but far from easy. My father, Henry, was a hard-working man who spent most of his days laboring on our family farm. He wasn't the type to talk much about his dreams or aspiration. Instead, he poured all his energy into providing for our family. As a child, I admired his dedication, but as I grew older, I began to notice the toll it took on him. His hands were calloused, his back bent from years of toil, and his eyes carried a sadness I couldn't fully understand. My mother often told me stories about how my father had once dreamed of traveling the world, exploring new places, and experiencing life beyond the confines of our small town. But those dreams were put on hold when he met her and started a family. "Your father sacrificed everything for us," she would say with a mixture of pride and regret. "He never complained, but I know he wonders what could have been." Despite his sacrifices, I always felt a distance between us. My father wasn't the kind of man who expressed his emotions openly. He showed his love through actions, fixing things around the house, working long hours to ensure we had enough, and quietly supporting me whenever I needed him. But there were moments when I wished he would open up, share his thoughts, and let me see the man behind the stoic exterior. When I turned 18, I left home to pursue a career in journalism, eager to explore the world and tell stories that mattered. My father didn't try to stop me, but I could see the disappointment in his eyes. "You're leaving," he said one evening as I packed my bags. It wasn't a question, it was a statement, laced with resignation. I nodded, unsure of what to say. "Just promise me one thing," he added, his voice softer this time. "Don't forget where you came from." I promised, but over the years, I found myself drifting further away from the life I had known. I moved to the city, built a successful career, and rarely visited home. Life became a whirlwind of deadlines, assignments, and constant movement. I convinced myself that I was chasing my dreams, but deep down, I knew I was running from the farm, from my father's unspoken expectations, and from the guilt of leaving him behind. Then, one day, everything changed. My father passed away, unexpectedly, leaving me devastated. In the weeks that followed, I returned home to settle his affairs. The house felt eerily quiet without him, and every corner seemed to echo with memories of the past. As I sorted through his belongings, I stumbled upon a locked chest hidden in the attic. Inside, I found journals, maps, and a letter addressed to me. The letter read, "My dearest Olivia, if you're reading this, it means I'm no longer with you. Before I go any further, let me tell you how proud I am of the woman you've become. You've chosen a life of adventure and purpose, qualities I deeply admire. But I also want you to know that I never stopped dreaming, even if I couldn't chase those dreams myself." Enclosed in this chest are maps and notes I collected over the years, documenting places I wanted to visit and experiences I longed to have. I never got the chance to see them, but I hope you will. Use them to create your own adventures, to explore the world I could only imagine, but with all my love. Dad, tears streamed down my face as I read his words. For so long, I had seen my father as a man content with his simple life. But now I realized how much he had sacrificed, not just for our family, but for himself. His dreams weren't buried. They were waiting for me to uncover them. Determined to honor his legacy, I decided to follow the maps and notes he had left behind. Over the next year, I traveled to every place he had marked, from remote villages in South America to bustling cities in Europe. Each destination brought me closer to understanding the man he truly was: a dreamer, an explorer, and someone who loved deeply, even if he struggled to express it. But the journey wasn't just about fulfilling his dreams, it was about rediscovering my own. Along the way, I met people who inspired me, challenged me, and reminded me of the importance of connection and storytelling. I documented my experiences, writing articles that captured not just the beauty of the places I visited, but the lessons I learned about life, love, and resilience. One of the most meaningful stops on my journey was a small village in Italy, where I met an elderly artist named Luca. He shared his studio with me, teaching me how to paint and encouraging me to express my emotions through art. Sometimes, he said, the hardest stories to tell are the ones closest to our hearts. His words resonated deeply with me, reminding me of my father's unspoken dreams and the stories I had yet to share. As I continued my travels, I began to piece together a narrative not just of my father's life, but of my own. I realized that his sacrifices had shaped me in ways I hadn't fully appreciated. His quiet strength, his unwavering dedication, and his unspoken love had taught me the value of perseverance and the importance of staying true to oneself. When I returned home, I transformed the family farm into a retreat for artists and writers, a place where people could come to create, reflect, and connect. I called it Dreamscapes, a name that reflected my father's hidden dreams and my journey of self-discovery. Through the retreat, I provided resources, workshops, and mentorship to individuals seeking inspiration and guidance. I also launched a blog where I shared my travel stories and reflections, hoping to inspire others to chase their dreams, no matter how impossible they might seem. One of the people I helped was Emily, a young writer struggling to find her voice. When she arrived at Dreamscapes, she was hesitant and unsure of herself. Together, we worked on her craft, exploring themes of identity, loss, and resilience. Watching her grow as a writer and gain confidence in her abilities reminded me of my own journey and the strength I had discovered within myself. Another individual, James, shared a story eerily similar to mine. His father had also sacrificed his dreams to provide for their family, leaving him with a sense of guilt and responsibility. When he learned about Dreamscapes, he reached out for support. Together, we helped him navigate his emotions, reconnect with his father's memory, and find closure. His gratitude reinforced my belief that the work we were doing was making a difference, not just for individuals, but for families and communities as well. As Dreamscapes grew, so did my sense of purpose. I realized that my father's legacy wasn't just about the dreams he left behind, it was about creating opportunities for others to dream, to explore, and to grow. By honoring his memory, I was able to honor the parts of my relationship with him that mattered most. The lessons he taught me about resilience, courage, and the importance of standing up for what's right. But building Dreamscapes wasn't without its challenges. There were moments when I questioned whether I was strong enough to carry the weight of so many stories, so much pain. There were times when the memories of my father's sacrifices threatened to overwhelm me, pulling me back into the darkness. But I reminded myself of why I started this journey: to create a better future, not just for myself, but for others. Through the individuals I met, I discovered something profound. Healing isn't a linear process. It's messy, unpredictable, and often painful. But it's also transformative. By sharing our stories, supporting one another, and taking steps toward change, we can reclaim our power and rewrite our narratives. That realization became the foundation of Dreamscapes, not just as a retreat, but as a movement. Looking back, I realized that my father didn't just leave me a legacy of dreams, he gave me the tools to transform them into something meaningful. His actions forced me to confront truths I might otherwise have avoided, pushing me to grow in ways I never imagined. And while I'll never fully understand why he chose to live the way he did, I've come to accept that his choices don't define me. Instead, they've shaped me into the person I am today, stronger, wiser, and more determined than ever to make a difference. Through Dreamscapes, I've learned that power isn't about control or revenge, it's about creating opportunities for others to thrive. It's about using your pain to fuel positive change, to lift others up when they feel like they can't stand on their own. And it's about recognizing that, no matter how broken you feel, you have the ability to rebuild not just your life, but the lives of those around you. If you're watching this and feeling stuck, remember, your past doesn't have to define you. You have the power to turn it into purpose, to create something beautiful out of something broken. If this story resonates with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Subscribe for more inspiring stories, and let's rewrite our legacies together.